Hey everybody, this is Jack Campbell, Keller Williams Realty. I'm here always to talk about all things houses, homes, living lifestyle here in San Diego County. And I'm super excited to be here to talk a little bit about not necessarily home sales, but what happens a lot of times after the home sales. I've got Alynn Etzler here, and she's with the San Diego Interior Design Group, and she does interior design.
We
So
do.
imagine that. We started talking on the phone the other day, and I realized that there's a lot that our clients don't know about how interior design works. So first off, thank you, Alynn, for being here.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, and I was hoping that you'd share with us how the whole process works to get started with interior design project. I know a lot of my clients actually are interested in it. It's just, where do you start, and how does that work? I guess, how does somebody go about meeting you, and what's that first appointment look like?
So that's a very good question. A lot of our clients are referrals, so they'll either know of us or know of us through another client. But we're on social media. Our website is pretty easy to find, and we're lucky because our name is San Diego Interior Design Group.
Yeah.
So we lucked out on that. So our SEO makes finding us very, very easy. A lot of times, our first appointment is usually over the phone, and we'll do just a basic, really fast, not like an onboarding, but kind of like an exploratory meeting where we'll find out what their project is, who they know, if they know any contractors, kind of like get the scope of the project. Past that, we'll set up an appointment and usually go and walk the job. We offer free consultations, so typically those are about 45 minutes long, and we'll basically walk through the project with them on site, and kind of the same thing where it's just finding out. We have a questionnaire that they can kind of walk through it with us, so we can find out what they like, what they don't like. We get an idea of their style, and then from there we move forward and go into a contract and
Make some decisions.
make some decisions.
So then somebody then calls you and says, hey, look, I'm thinking about painting my house, and I'm not sure what colors to do or what materials I want on the floors. And then, so some of that, like that initial phone call is just kind of that exploratory, like how big is this project? How much are you planning to do? How long is it going to take?
Sometimes, yeah, that's
fair?
absolutely, and finding out their timeline and when they want to start. And if they already have a contractor in mind, or if they need somebody that we know, then we have that opportunity to sort of like branch out and use the guys that we
So you're
know
not
and
doing the
love.
work.
So we don't do the work. No, we clearly do not do the work. However, we know what the process is.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And we know when the subs need to go in to make it work. But that's why we love our contractors, because they know the drill and they know how to do it. So
I guess that makes your
it
job
easy.
a lot easier, having contacts with the right people who are responsible, show up on time.
Absolutely.
Fair pricing, these kinds of things. And I guess you can keep them accountable to that as well, right? To a certain degree.
Absolutely. And that's kind of what our role is a lot of times, is being the liaison between the contractor and the client. So it helps the process to go smoothly. So instead of the contractor looking for the client to select their paint colors or their tile or whatever they're doing in the house that needs, that has to happen sequential, we take care of that, or we'll help them to prompt them, and they'll give us a timeline. We need this by a certain day. So then we know that we need to make that happen in order for the project to move forward smoothly.
Right.
So I think it quickens the process, and it makes it seamless, as well as keeping everything going to the same party. So that one room isn't going in a completely different direction because they don't know the process.
Right. So I know we talked, I mentioned I was the one that brought up paint and flooring and materials and these things, but I'm assuming that not all that you do is just like the actual walls and the floors and the rest of that. So you're doing interior furnishings as well.
We do.
What percentage, would you say most people come in and have you take the whole property and do it, or most people come in and say, hey, look, I want to do this room, and
Sometimes,
how does that work?
Yeah, that's a good question. Sometimes it's a tiptoe in. So a lot of times they want to see what we know or see what we can do for them. And so they'll start with a couple rooms, like a kitchen and a bathroom. And then as that sort of moves forward, it becomes a bigger project. They're like, oh, our backyard needs this. Can you do this? So then it becomes more and more and more.
So you get into exterior spaces too. So
we do exterior and we do
landscape
interior.
also?
We have a landscape designer that
Architect,
architect that we that we can partner up with, and then we have guys that do the contractors that also do exterior.
So pretty much anything in or around the house, that's all fair game.
Yeah, absolutely.
Got it. Okay, so so somebody basically contacts you, has a initial phone call to kind of overview what the project and the scope is, make sure that there's understanding about what services they need, and if you can actually support them in their cause. Then sounds like you have an initial consultation, and that initial consultation generally is free, correct?
Correct.
For you to come and do kind of like a 45-minute walkthrough.
Yep. Just to kind of do an intake and find out what the project is and if we're a good fit. Because sometimes it's maybe not, and maybe that's that's not the case, and they're like, oh, we don't really want that.
Yeah.
So, but more than none, it's usually
usually works out.
Yeah, usually works out great.
And then you start maybe tiptoe. Does anybody ever decide that they're only going to do parts of the project at a time? Like, we're going to start here because my budget, I don't have enough money to do the whole house, so let's start in the places where other people see first.
Yes.
I mean, that's how my family did it.
Yeah.
Is we said, let's do the
everything is budget driven.
Yeah.
So so a lot of times it is that way. They'll start the project and they're like, well, let's do phase 1, 2, 3, and then finish it out. But depends on the project and depends on the client.
Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here today.
You're welcome.
So,
thank you for having
Alynn
me.
Etzler with San Diego Design Group. And if you guys need more information on her, like an introduction, feel free to reach out to me. Her contact information will also be in the link down below. So thank you again for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.